Hey guys, my name is Sandy. I'm a licensed realtor here in the Central Florida area. Today I want to do a video for you on how to buy a new construction home. Today we're in 2024. It is the end of October. Interest rates are a bit high. Builders are giving quite a few incentives to get their product to move. So they're also helping with your closing costs. So I want to dig into how to buy a new construction home. I did several different videos on what to be leery of, what to look for, but I want to do one video just spending the time only and talking about how to buy a new construction home. So the first thing you want to do is figure out what areas you want to live in, obviously, right? I know you're going to do that. And then we're going to figure out what's for sale in the area. We want to go ahead and get pre-approved to make sure we know what our dollar figure is. We don't want to assume, okay, I want to buy a house of $500,000. And how do you get to the $500,000? Nobody knows. So we want to make sure that we're qualified. So let's say we got pre-approved and we know we're approved for up to $500,000 as an example. And let's say we know that there's new construction homes in the area that we want to live in or buy in that's in the same price range, right? So that's the first thing. Secondly, decide if you're going to use a realtor or not. I would suggest you use a realtor in this market. Obviously, I'm a realtor, but you could do this by yourself if you want. All right. So we're going to first figure out how many builders are in the area they were trying to buy in and what their price point are. If you decide to use a realtor, but you want to go out first and explore what's out there before you get a realtor involved, because that's how some people do it. I wouldn't suggest it, but that's how some people do it. Then you could go ahead and look at different new construction developments. But what I would suggest is don't sign anything with the builder. Because if you go to a new construction site and you sign something with the builder, then next thing you know, they're going to tell you can't have an agent. So if you've signed something with them and then you decide to get a realtor after that, they're not going to allow you to do it. So if you just go in exploring and see what they have available, just don't sign anything, don't fill anything out, ask as many questions. They will allow you to ask as many questions as you want. Tell them you don't feel good and fill out anything, you just want to see what's going on. Okay. Let's say you decide on the development, you decide on the builder. Now you're going to want to go ahead and research the builder. How many, search the reviews of the builder, see how many complaints they have or complaints they don't have. Check with the Better Business Bureau to see how they rate on the Better Business Bureau chart. You want to make sure you're going in with a really good builder. Even if they're a big builder, you still want to go ahead and check that as well. So let's say all that's done. You're going to go in, you say, okay, I'm going to go ahead with this builder. So now we're going to go in and you're going to have to decide on a few things. You're going to have to decide if you want an inventory home or you want to build from scratch or if you want a spot building home. And what does that mean? An inventory home is going to mean that the builder built the home off a spec, right? So they built the home based upon what everybody is doing, what everybody else is doing, right? They're going to build that home. They're going to, okay, everybody wants quartz countertop, we're going to build it with quartz. Everybody wants 42-inch kitchen cabinet, we're going to build it with that. And they're going to build it and it's going to become a part of the builder's inventory. So they're going to just sell that as an all-inclusive package, meaning they're going to sell it with all the upgrades already, the lot and everything is done, so you could buy it as a package. Some builders do that. Some builders want you to build from scratch. The builders that want you to build from scratch sometimes will have homes that are falling apart. What does that mean? It means that somebody went to purchase the home and for whatever reason their financing fell through. They couldn't close on the home. So now it comes back into the builder's inventory as well. So this is also called an inventory home too, right? So if the builder has something like that where somebody built the home from scratch but no, they can't close on the property, they're going to have more incentives on those kind of homes because they don't want to keep them, and this is based upon somebody else's decisions or choices. So it's going to be a little bit harder to sell. So they're going to put more incentive on it. So maybe they're offering 3% towards your closing cost, but because this is an inventory home that they want to get rid of because a deal fell apart, they might give you a 6% closing cost. Normally for these kind of homes, the homes that the deal fell apart on, the builder is going to want you to close rather quickly because they already have more than likely a CFO on the property. Once you have a certificate of occupancy on the property, the clock starts to tick because now they got to pay taxes and everything else on the property, right? Because it's complete. So based upon where they are in building the home out, when the deal fall apart with that buyer, it's going to determine how much incentive they're going to have on the property. If they already have a certificate of occupancy, they're going to want to sell it really fast. So they're going to give you a fair amount of incentives, and they're going to also want you to close within 45 to 60 days. So they may say something like this. We'll give you 6% towards your closing costs. We'll pay down the interest rate to this amount, and you always want to ask for a permanent buy down, right? A lot of builders offer a temporary buy down where you buy down, you pay 2% less in the first year, 1% less in the second year, and then the full interest rate in the third year. You are going to be qualified though on the full amount, right? So let's say the full amount was 5% interest rate, or let's say 6%. So you qualify for 6%. This is the payments for 6%. But in the first year, you're going to pay 4% instead. In the second year, you pay 5% instead. And in the third year, up until the end of the loan, you're going to pay the 6%. It depends upon who is paying this down. If the builder is paying this down and still helping you with your closing costs, it's something to consider. If the builder is saying, I'm going to give you 6% towards your closing costs, but a part of that 6% is to buy down the interest rate, then you're going to have to figure out, well, how much is it that's going to go towards the interest rate to be buy down versus if I was just going to pay the full amount every year for those 2 years, right? You got to figure that down. The builder is not going to offer you this, but most of the time you could ask the builder's lender, because in order for you to get all these incentives, by the way, you have to use the builder's lender. So you could ask the builder's lender, what does it look like if I did a permanent buy down? How much would it cost me if I was to do 1% buy down permanently, which means across the entire 30 year of the loan, it's going to come down by 1%. What would that look like? Would the builder help me to do something like that? So this is part of your negotiation. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let's get back to the beginning. So you have to decide if you're going to do an inventory home, a spec home, or you're going to build from scratch. Some builders have inventory homes where they just build the same pattern. You don't have any choice. This is what they're building and that's what you're buying. Some builders will have spec home where they'll build a home on spec, meaning based upon what most people pick in a home, the upgrades and all that great stuff, they'll build a home based upon that, and they'll sell it as a spec home. Some builders will allow you to build from scratch, and some builders will have a combination of all three things going on. So when you're going to the development, you want, based upon your timeline, you may want to ask, say, do you have any spec homes or do you have any inventory homes? And they'll let you know. And then you could decide if you want those. Let's pretend you're building from scratch. So if you're building from scratch, you're going to go pick your lot. There's going to be a premium on the lot, right? So you're going to pick your lot and you're going to pick what model home you want on that lot. And then you're going to go through what they call structural design, right? So you're building out the home to see how much it's going to cost you to actually build this thing. So the structural design is gonna do with, do you want a gourmet kitchen? Do you want any, do you want a range shower head in your in the bathroom? If it's a 2-story home, how do you want the stairs? Do you want the stairs with the white backing on it? Do you want, are you gonna carpet the stairs? All this stuff comes into the structural part of it. How do you want the bathrooms? Do you want any niches in the wall? Like a little shower niche? How big do you want a bathtub or just a shower? Are you going to upgrade from tub to a shower? All this great stuff. That's a part of the structural part of it. Do you want a gourmet kitchen or don't you? Or are you going to go with a regular kitchen, right? So these are the structural parts, and this is what they're going to do at the builder's office. They're going to pick the lot and you're going to go through the structural part of the contract. Part of the structural part of the contract is also going to be if you want a bench in the shower or that kind of stuff, right? Go through all that stuff. They're going to come up with a price. Once you get that price, then you're going to want to talk to the builder's lender to see if you're going to qualify. You got to qualify with the builder lender. Even though you already pre-approved from another lender, you got to pre-approve with the builder's lender. So you're going to talk with the lender. So when you go talk with the lender, you want to find out what is the incentive that the builder is giving. And based upon that incentive, if there's anything to do with an interest rate buy down, who is paying for it? Am I paying for it with part of the incentive that the builder is giving me as part of my closing costs? And if this is the case, how much do I need to buy down the interest rate, and how much will be left over for me to put towards my actual closing cost? That's super important. You need to know that, okay? So they're going to work that number out. Make sure that the figures that they work out, make sure you understand what is the purchase price plus structural, what is the required down payment, how much more do you need to bring to the closing table to buy that. And we haven't gone to the design center yet, right? This is just structural and lot. So the lot and the structural. What your monthly payment is going to look like based upon this. Now, what is going to be added to this will be when you go to design center. The design center, some builders have a separate design center. So you pick the lot, pick your structural, then we're going to go to design. But before you get to design, you're going to sign contract with the builder, right? So you want to know what that looks like. And bear in mind that once they do the structural and the lot and you come up with a figure, You need to know what the interest rate might be. It's hard for them to tell you. They're going to predict it in today's market, because if it's going to take them a year, 8 months to a year to build a house, they really can't tell you what interest rate will be at that time. But they could do it based upon the interest rate today that we're doing this, right? So they'll tell you what the monthly payment look like. On the incentives, you need to know, on the incentives that you're giving me, especially if it's going towards my closing costs, are you paying any of the interest rate down? Or is the incentive that you're giving me a part of that money that I'm going to have to use to pay the interest rate down? The ideal situation is to have the builder pay down the interest rate themselves and give you still some money towards your closing costs, because it's going to be two different things altogether. The interest rate buy down becomes a part of your closing costs, but it's completely separate from your actual closing costs. Most builders are not going to do prepaids. What do I mean by that? They're not going to pay for your insurance for the year. They're not going to pay any taxes due. They're not going to pay nothing that you have to prepay to the bank into your escrow account. That's what that means. So sometimes the lender is going to want you to pay. They're going to want to keep in reserve a year of taxes. Even though with new construction home, they're going to predict the taxes, because the taxes isn't there yet because the home is still being built, right? So they're going to predict a year tax, and they're going to also predict a year of insurance. You're going to have to pay that by yourself. That's not going to be a part of the builder's closing costs. So let's say we have that worked out. The next thing we need to consider is design center. You need to have a budget for a design center. Some builder will say, hey, we will give you $7,500 towards your design center, or $10,000 towards design center, or whatever it is the incentive is, right? So when you go to the design center, you got to be careful that you're not picking too many things. You want to keep your budget at a certain level. So let's say you qualified for $500,000, and between the lot and the structural, you got to $480,000. That means you have $20,000 for design. If you go over that $20,000, the builder is going to want you to pay off of that up front. So bear this in mind. Some builders want you to pay all of it up front, so they have a threshold on design. Don't go too crazy with design. I often say just make sure you get your countertop and the size kitchen cabinets that you want. Everything else you could change out. The cabinets, make sure you get what you want on the cabinets. The countertops, make sure you get what you want on the countertops. As far as faucets is concerned, you could always change out your faucet. You could change out your light fixtures when you close on your home. You could get carpet, you could change it out and get luxury vinyl when you're done. So there's some things that you don't really need to get from the builder. So just bear this in mind that you don't have to go too crazy. Just get stuff that's going to be hard to change. You could get your own backsplash. You could do your own backsplash once the home is completed. But the cabinets on the countertop, on the flooring, if you want tiles, it would be best if you get the builder to do the tiles, and you want to price that out. If you're going to do luxury vinyl, you probably want to do your luxury vinyl yourself. So it depends upon what you want. You got to figure that out. But you must bear in mind that if you have to go to design, you have to make sure you know what your budget is with design, because you don't want to go over budget. Let's go back to the structural and contract. The contract is super important, right? It's very hard to get out of a builder's contract, if not next to impossible. So you want to make sure that that's the development that you want, that's the model home that you want, and that you're very clear and everything is spelled out as to the design of the home, the structural. Make sure you have your own little notepad that you and the salesperson agree on all the different structure that will be in the property. But that's going to be a big conflict if they start building the home and the structural things that you pick is not being built in the home, right? And the builder most of the time is going to try to blame you or whatever. So make sure you have everything written down that you know. Now, when it comes to the design center, I wouldn't advise you to go to upgrade the paint, because the paint is going to be flat. So if you want to keep the flat paint, you could upgrade the paint, but I would just take the builder's interior paint and then do whatever after. The exterior paint, you want to pick what the exterior paint is going to be, and that's going to be a part of the price included anyway. Another thing that's going to change your price is the elevation, right? They have elevation A, B, C, different elevation, meaning what the front of the home will look like and what the curb appeal will look like based upon the architectural that they put in the front of the home. That's going to also be part of your structural, and that will determine what the price will be. So you always want to make sure that you have everything on paper, because what happens a lot of times is people go in and thinking the builder is like, yeah, we're going to give you this much money towards closing costs. I'm going to help you with paying on your rate. But the buyer not knowing that the money that the builder is offering towards closing costs is a part of what they're going to use to buy down the rate. So a lot of times at the end of the day, while deals will fall apart and you can't close at the end, is because you thought you didn't have to bring money to the closing table, or maybe you thought you had to bring less money to the closing table, and you end up having to bring more money to the closing table. So you got to really pay attention to these things, guys, because once you put your down payment down on a contract for a builder, you're not going to get that money back. That's it. you would have to prove that you cannot get financing. This is the reason why they want you to use their lender. And this is the reason why they give you so much incentive when you use their lender, because the lender will tell the builder honestly if you qualify for the financing or not. If you qualify for the financing, but you can't get enough money, maybe they tell you, you need $50,000 to the closing table and you thought you needed $30,000. That's a $20,000 difference. And you can't get $20,000 from anywhere, the deal's gonna fall apart. And you can't tell the builder, well, I didn't qualify on the loan, because their lender is gonna say, yes, they qualify on the loan. They just don't have enough cash to bring to the closing table. This is the reason why it's so important. You need to know upfront what you're getting yourself involved with when you do a lot on the structural, if you're building from scratch. And even more importantly, don't go overboard at the design center. Make sure you have the money in hand before you start doing all this stuff. If you're going to be selling a home, make sure you sell the home as soon as you can, because you don't want the market to change or shift on you, and then the money you thought you're going to get out of the home is now less, and then you really can't close on the home. That's a serious problem. So you want to make sure that you're understanding every single figure, what it comes out to, and what you actually need to close, and that you're going to have it to close. Let's talk about your building from scratch. Let's talking about the building process. You're going to go through different inspections with the builder. The first inspection is going to be the structural. When they lay the foundation and they put all the structure up, you're going to have an appointment where you're going to go around and they're going to invite you in. You're not going to be able to tell though if you're not good in construction, because everything is going to be framed out. It's going to be a framing kind of inspection to say you wanted a room here, you wanted a rainfall shower here, you wanted a bench in the bathroom. We already have the bench and all that great stuff. Okay, that's what you're going to do. Now that's going to be the frame inspection. You're going to have another inspection again until when you get to almost completed. That's the next inspection, when you're almost done with the property. And at that point, I would suggest you do a home inspection. So at the appointment where you're going to have with the builder to do a walkthrough, the first initial walkthrough, I would say do a home inspection a week or two before that. That way, anything that inspector finds, you could discuss that with the builder during that preliminary walkthrough. After that walkthrough, you typically have a week after is when you're going to have your closing date, maybe a week or two after that. So a week or two after that, when you go for your last walkthrough, you want to make sure everything was done. If everything was not done, you want to create a punch list, right? Because the builder is going to tell you, yeah, we'll get that done once you close. It depends upon what the item is. If it's something you could live with, like maybe they need to replace, maybe they need some more doorknobs on the cabinet doors, maybe they're missing a door stopper, those kind of things, fine. If the AC isn't working though, or any of the appliances is not working, you may want them to fix it before you close, because that can become a drama. Trust me when I tell you. So just make sure that none of the bigger appliances is on the punch list. If it's, there's always going to be a punch list with every builder. They're not going to get everything. So once you have the punch list, that's fine. Once you close on the home, you have 30 days where you could call your same builder. After 30 days, it goes in their warranty department. So within 30 days, that means you're going to move in the home. You might get some scratches while you're moving in and everything like that. You could ask your builder to give you some extra paint to touch up some of the walls if you're not going to be painting, that kind of stuff. Or anything else, you're going to be able to work with that builder for the first 30 days. Once those 30 days pass, then you're going to be off to warranty. So you want to take care of as much stuff as possible during those 30-day period. Once it goes off to warranty, you call the warranty department and tell them what the problem is. They will fix it. Now, you have 1 year of workmanship under the builder, workmanship. So that means in the 10th month, maybe the 8th or the 9th month, you want to do an inspection. You want to call the inspection company out. You want to do another inspection after living in the property for about 8 or 9 months, because you want to send that list to the builder to get that fixed before your 12 months is up. Because once your 12 months is up, you're on your own when it comes to the builder's workmanship. Okay, so you definitely want to get a home inspection done right before the 12 months. So I normally say 8, 9, 10th month, something like that. See if anything else comes up that they need to fix and send that in. A lot of people don't do that. I would advise you to do that. Now, let's say you bought a spec home or inventory home, meaning you didn't have to go pick a lot, you didn't pick structural, all that was already done for you. Then that would be like a regular sale, right? So the home is already built, so you're buying it directly from the builder. You're going to still do your home inspection. The builder still have to fix everything that may be off, and you still will have the first 30 days when you first close on the home to deal with the builder that built that property, and then it goes off into warranty. So I hope this helped. There's a few more steps, but I'm trying not to make the video too long. But we always do complimentary consultation via Zoom. So if you want to call or text us, number should be somewhere here or somewhere below. Call or text us and say, hey, I would like to schedule a complimentary Zoom call. we will do your complimentary Zoom calling, going over the steps I just did and go into more details. It's kind of hard to fit everything in one video, but I hope you learned something from this. Remember to like and subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you on the next video.